Good morning from Little Creek Bee Ranch. We wanted to kind of follow up on a tip we gave the other day, a little bit more clarification. A lot of people coming into beekeeping might hear terms and not know exactly what they are, what it means. Some of you already know. A mating box is simply a little box. There's different shapes and sizes. It holds small frames, and the whole idea is that we want to establish a little queen in here that she'll fly out from the hole, she'll go out and mate, and she'll fly back. And it's a small volume, so she's easy to find. We'll just pick out the frames, and she's easy to find. It's purely for her to fly and get mated, and then come back and lay a little bit, and then the beekeeper can harvest the queen out and sell the queen. It's just simply a mating box. But to help others understand, sometimes there's pieces of information that are left out, and then you kind of got a work stoppage. Some of you already know this, some of you don't, so this is for the people that don't. These little frames have to be filled out. And if you put them in here raw and dump bees in with a queen cell, they just don't seem to take well. They just don't take well. So what Colin from Australia helped me understand, he came out to visit the other day, is that the bees need to fill this out. We set up a box with a medium divider that we filmed the other day, and the idea is that we want the bees to fill this out fat with brood, a little bit of honey and pollen, and after they filled it out, we'll come in and harvest, to just take it out with the bees on it. Of course, the queen, we want the queen to stay behind. We want her to stay in the main hive. But we'll harvest the bees and the larva and the brood, and then we'll come and put them in a mating box. And maybe we'll do 2 of those, big old fat frames. We don't want a queen, so these are small frames, so it's easy to find the queen, shouldn't be a problem. Leave her behind, and then put these frames in the mating box, and it'll hold 4 frames and maybe a couple of empties, something like that. Now we can harvest a queen cell if we're making queens, and we'll time it and put a queen cell in here, and we'll spritz them all the same with our sugar water lemongrass oil, and close it up. There's a lid on this. It's in the honey has a lid on it. And when she hatches, she'll hatch, and she'll come out the hole. There's a little hole for her. And it's a 1/2 inch hole that's drilled upwards so the rain washes out. And she'll fly and get mated. And she has a clear design. We made 40 of these mating boxes with stencils. Different stencils, different colors on the front. And she can pick that up and come back. But the key here is, this is what Colin filled in for me, is the bees will fill them out here, and we already know that having brood in here is the leverage over the bees. That's our leverage over the bees, and she ought to come back, right to her hole. She'll pick up on the design. They can see colors and shapes, and she ought to be able to pick that up, not a problem. But in the past, we just didn't connect, and we were shaking bees in to fill out comb, and that just wasn't working. So you know, hindsight's always 20/20. And now we'll take these frames, let them fill them out nice and fat with brood and larva on it, minus the queen. Put 2 of them in here, let them have a couple of more to fill out, and then we'll put a queen cell in here and put a lid on it. Mark it on a timetable. We'll have a time sheet. And these little mating boxes turned out good. You can buy them on the market at the bee supply stores, Daydant.com, Manlake.com, BrushyMountain.com. But we made these little wooden boxes. I think this was a Fat Bee Man plan, Don Kuchenmeister. And we just drilled a hole here and angled it up, put a screen for a vent hole. And the bottom was masonite, real simple, and we waxed it in. That's what you see. It's a patina, but it's not varnish. It's just beeswax. We just rolled it in a big tank of beeswax. We did 40 of those. That's enough for us. If I wanted more mating boxes, I think I'll buy them. But this is what we did. We just color coded them, different colors, different shapes, different designs. Make them all stand out differently. Big old stencil design in the front, and then wax coated it in. But that's the idea behind the mating box system. You just got to have a medium box, because these are medium depth frames. Have a medium box that's always filling out mating frames for you, and then you can harvest them. Boom, you just take the bees out, spritz them, put them in there. I'd put them in there, 2 of them. Put 2 of them, fat with brood. A couple of empty frames, a queen cell, nice and snug. Plug them up. I'd plug the hole. Take them on a trip around the section for about 30 minutes and come back and set them in your mating yard. But just to help beekeepers make the connection between a medium box that's specifically for the mating frames, always running those, always ongoing, until you get them all filled up. But the leverage is that the brood and the larvae is going to be filled up here, and that's our leverage on the bees staying put and the queen coming back. That was a huge deal for us, so thank you to Colin for helping us make that connection. Now we're up and running on queens, and we'll be doing some cool stuff with queens here before long. Hey, we might even do a buy one or buy 2 get 1 free, or a free queen day to the first 10 people that show up. All kinds of cool stuff coming up. Stay tuned. You might benefit from a free queen.